The name's Dan Tangherlini, and I'm the Assistant Secretary for Management, Chief Financial Officer, and Chief Performance Officer of the United States Department of Treasury. But I learned a very interesting lesson. It was actually a seminal lesson. My first day at work at OMB, I went to see my boss. And I said, listen, he was actually my boss's boss, and he did this great thing. He was just a brilliant manager. He sat down and talked to every new person in the office and welcomed them and let them know that you could come talk to him about any issue. And he asked me if I had any questions. I asked him, since we were there to really implement and ensure the delivery of the president's policy, what was kind of the cheat sheet I could use? Where could I go to look for what the president's policies, what were his priorities? And I said, that's a great question. It's a fantastic question. He walked over to a bookcase, and he pulled a book off the bookcase and put it in front of me. And I looked at it, and I said, well, that's the budget. He said, right. If it's funded, it's a priority. What's interesting is that the enterprise itself hadn't had a huge amount of attention to the way it was operated, the way it was managed, the way it was financed, in part because for the last few years, we've been in a base plus kind of budget environment. But starting in 2009, kind of a global realization that we can't just keep growing our government at the rate we've been growing it, and we're going to have to pull back. There's also kind of a recognition that we could probably be more efficient in the way we deliver the services. So using some of the principles and models that we had employed in the city, following on the great work of Commissioner Bratton in New York with CompStat and Mayor O'Malley up in Baltimore with CityStat, we had started something in the city called CapStat, which was really trying to think about ways that you could manage the government enterprise based on data, based on goals and expectations, based on a clear vision from the executive, and then clear accountability for those people. And I think in many ways what we were trying to do was kind of set a tone and a pattern for kind of managerial excellence, resource management within the Department of Treasury that would reinforce the point that the Treasury Department wasn't just going to talk about the sustainability of the federal finances, but they were going to try to lead it as well. And working with some of my great colleagues who have the similar positions in, say, the Department of Commerce and Veteran Affairs and Department of Interior, we've been able to learn from each other and try to find ways to bring kind of efficiency and effectiveness into the federal government, which is it's a very gratifying thing because of the huge impact it has on the entire citizen.